Hi there, it's April the 11th and we're continuing our progress through the good news of Luke, and we're in chapter 14 and we're reading from verses 7 to the end of the chapter at verse 35. At the beginning of this reading, Jesus is at a dinner, a feast given by friends, and as he's sitting down he notices other people taking the good places, the places near the host or maybe the places near where the food is served. And he says, when you go to a feast, he says, don't go for the best seats in the house. He says, take the lower seats, put yourself in a lower place. He says, and then if you're in the wrong place, the host will come to you and he will honor you by saying, come nearer to where the good places are. There's a proverb which says in the Hebrew scriptures that says, let another praise you and not you yourself. And Jesus is just calling us to a place of meekness, a place of humility, not pushing ourselves forward with this example. And then Jesus comes on to the parable of the great banquet. And this is a parable of the man who sent out invitations to guests to come to a wedding feast, but the guests, for one reason or another, refused. Now, they all seem to have had good reasons. One man got married, one man had bought a field, one man had livestock he needed to look after. But the man who sends out the invitations says, okay, well, let's just forget about those people. Let's invite everybody. And Jesus actually says, if you invite those who can't repay you, can't invite you back, God will see that. That's a blessing. That's a blessing to you as well as a blessing to them. And so the man's feast was filled with people who were unable to repay him because they were poor, they were blind, they were deaf, they were lame. But because of this, it says God sees and God will note that, and there will be a payment made at the resurrection. Jesus is quite clear about that God is going to bless our giving. God is going to bless our giving to others who are not able to repay us. And then Jesus makes very clear what it means to be a disciple of his. And he says, if you're not prepared to come after me and give up every tie you have, give up every relationship you have, put nothing above me, even your own self, then you can't really be my disciple. You can't give everything to following me. And then he calls his disciples to count the cost, just like a man who's building a tower, like a king who's going out to battle, making sure that we have the resources to be able to complete what we started. Giving our lives to follow Jesus is never a straightforward call. In fact, Jesus says that it's like taking up a cross and following him. Now, when someone took up a cross in Jesus' day, they were going to die. So it literally is a self-dying, a self-denial, a self-donation as well. But what we receive in its place is that sense of being in God's kingdom and of sitting with him and of receiving so much in terms of the joy of Jesus being close to us and being with us. Let's be prepared to give up everything we have to follow Jesus today. Have a very good April the 11th.